the true cedars for us. And these are Thuja occidentalis. This is one called Sunkist. Where are we? Number 1137 is Thuja occidentalis Sunkist. We're going to go and look at the straight species in a minute, but this is probably one of the more, well, let's talk about Thuja occidentalis first. Thuja occidentalis is one of the more common evergreens we find in this part of the world and going further north. So if you got to Sudbury, anywhere you go north, most of those evergreens that you see are Thuja occidentalis. Okay. This is a cultivar of it. So we have a lot of cultivars of Thuja occidentalis in Ontario and specifically in Canada because it's a native plant and they're tough and hardy. Very, very tough and hardy. This is one called Sunkist for obvious reasons, right? Sunkist orange, right? It's supposed to be an orange in color. Now, I keep in mind again, winter it is gone kind of this brownish, rusty gold color. If you look at this in spring, that's when you'll see that it is Sunkist because it has much, much more of an orange tint. Moderate growth rate on it, and very, very thick, right? Easy to identify because it's got the typical cedar foliage. You don't see the white lines on the backs of the leaves as you would in camicypris. So that's one way of helping you identify. It's much more aromatic if you crush the foliage than camicypris. The cones are different than camicypris. You'll be able to see the cones on the straight species. This one hasn't produced any yet, but it will. And then it's got this kind of medium, fine to medium texture to it, right? It's kind of, this one hasn't been pruned, so it's a fairly dense growing plant. Really nice plant. But often again what happens is you see these in garden centers and they come in these cute little pots and people plant them right beside the doorstep. And then in a few years they can't get out the front door because the thing has grown really quite large, right? So you've got to be very, very conscious of that. But a really, really nice evergreen. Now cedars are quite variable in their requirements. They can actually grow with their feet in water to fairly dry land once they become established. There was, as Jack brought in samples of the cedar leaf miner, which is probably the biggest problem with them at present, but not a huge problem that would deter me from planting them, and even less so on some of the cultivars. Use this as a kind of a grouping. You actually could use it as a hedge if you wanted a gold hedge. Plant a bunch of them together. They don't usually do that because they're expensive.
Hedge punctuated with a couple of these maybe?
Well, so long as you don't do it like with green, a gold, a green, a gold. I've seen that. I've seen, and it's like, wow. You know, it's just like, you need to be on some psychedelic drug to even look at it. It's just, why would you do that? But yeah, you could, you know, put a group of them in a green hedge or something like that. Pick a nice avenue tree going up the side of a long laneway or something, rows of them or groups of them.